Okay, good evening. Welcome to the 1947th regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. Today is June 27th. We will begin tonight's meeting with the offering of the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Rob Donovic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Donovic. So, like I said, this is the 1947th regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. Tonight is a voting meeting. The items on tonight's agenda will receive a motion to approve, to deny, or to refer to a committee of the whole, or to take no further action. At this time, I'll ask the city clerk to take tonight's roll.
Councilmember Donovic.
Here.
Councilmember McCullough.
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
President Jolly.
Present. So we have 4 members tonight. We have a quorum. You'll note that our colleagues Laura Toy, Scott Barr, and Scott Morgan are not here. Laura Toy and Scott Morgan have been recently exposed to somebody with COVID and out of an abundance of caution are not here to spare anybody illness, potential illness that is. And Mr. Barr is leading a mission trip out of town with some youngsters. So we do have a quorum and we will be ready to proceed tonight. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the minutes of the 1946th regular meeting held on June 6th of 2022.
So move.
We have a motion by McCullough,
Support.
support by Donovic. Are there any corrections to the minutes or comments by the council? I see none. Any comments or corrections by the audience? I see none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on the minutes, please?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
I need to vote present as I was not here.
President Jolly.
Aye. The meeting minutes pass. At this time, we will go to audience communication. At this time, we have set aside 30 minutes for audience communication in regards to any items that are not on the agenda this evening. People in the audience who speak during audience communication are limited to 3 minutes for their comments to the council. If we are not able to get through all the comments that are wished to be made at the beginning of the meeting, we will revisit it at the end of the meeting until everybody has had a chance to speak. With that being said, if you'd like to make comments, please come up to this podium. And I would ask that we kind of, as best as we can, line up here so that we can take full advantage of the 30 minutes. Good evening, ma'am. Please state your name and your address for the record, if you would.
Hi, my name is Linda Linder. My address is 19541 Westmore, Livonia, 48152. And I'm here regarding property on at 19500 Farmington, which the city has been aware of for a while. There's been a posting on the building since, or the home since 8/23/2021. At the time, it was, the notice of violation was do not reoccupy. The building's declared unsafe and is to be demolished. And in the body of the notice, it says, the following orders are issued for the correction of these violations and shall be completed no later than 8/23/2021. So I'm basically here to find out what the delay is. This is now June 2022, 8 months later. And I'm wondering what's going on. Is it a budget issue? Is it you can't find a contractor? How can I help move this along? This house is really in bad condition. It's unsafe. I made some copies of pictures for you guys to take a look at if you're interested.
If you'd like to pass any pictures, you can give them to Mr. Zielinski and pass them on down here.
Yeah.
So at this time, what I can tell you is we can have the administration note it and note who you are and your contact information and have them follow up with you. As a council, we don't have that kind of information here.
Okay. That's what I was
Yeah, but we do have a
told.
representative here from the administration whose job is to take notes of such things and follow
Okay.
up with them.
I did, on June 2nd, I visited the inspection department, and they suggested I come to the city-county meeting, so here I am. Okay.
Your comments are noted, and I appreciate you coming out here, and I'll look into it, but the administration has to respond with the actual information.
All
I
right.
don't want to mislead you. Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
Good evening, sir. State your name for the record, please, and address.
My name is David. I've been a lifelong city of Livonia resident. One thing I would like to start before my 3 minute starts is Mr. Morgan's email address
Your
is
3
not
minutes
currently
starts as soon
working.
as, with all due respect, your 3 minutes starts as soon as you start.
Okay, all right, very good. I'm here because I'm kind of upset about the pride flag being flown here in the city of Livonia. And I have a couple questions. I want to know, our taxpayer dollars, were they spent on this flag? I want to know, why does the mayor have the only authority to choose which flags are flown? And I believe there should be a more robust process in place so the notion of favoritism isn't breached. And I spoke with the mayor's office, and I was told that the mayor usually doesn't take constituents' call, and I'm wondering why. Also, in speaking with them, I was given false information concerning the Supreme Court case with Boston. My question is, now that this pride flag is being flown, will the city be required to fly any flag that any organization wants, or will they face legal action? And I would like to know why the mayor's chiefs of staff told me that the reason the city won't fly a religious flag or a straight pride flag is that religious persons and straight persons aren't persecuted. And I also feel that this is political pandering on the part of Maureen, and I believe Livonia is already a place where anyone is welcome, so why do we need a flag that is part of a lifestyle choice? And you all received an email from me, so thank you for your time, and thank you for the people that got back to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, ma'am. State your name and address, please.
My name is Kristen Lee. I'm a resident of Livonia. This past Thursday, Mayor Brosnan informed us of a decision she made for all the people of Livonia without providing a public forum for discussion so that people could be heard regarding the use of public property. The taxpayers of Livonia own the flagpole. The opportunity for a conversation by the residents about its use was denied. The process that was taken was not good governance. There should have been a forum for public discussion so that people could be heard. I want to share part of an email that was sent to the mayor, the city council, and the Human Rights Commission this morning at 10:36 a.m. Tonight, I speak for residents who feel disenfranchised by this process because the mayor made a choice without our participation in the process on the use of the pole we taxpayers own. Dear Mayor Brosnan, recently we were advised that the city of Livonia may be flying a third-party flag at City Hall. Gay pride is a political agenda and not a neutral policy legally established for the common good of all. By advertising and supporting it, the city would be endorsing one highly politicized view over all others, and in the process alienating those who don't hold with that specific political agenda. Why would you put off so many on one side when it is unnecessary to hold a particular position in the ongoing political battle as a municipality? We trust you have consulted your municipal risk management insurance carrier about the adverse legal implications associated with a municipality expressing political and perhaps partisan viewpoints. We encourage you to not fly any third-party flag. Even so, if the city's flagpole is a public forum, the city may also be required to fly a flag from a neo-Nazi group or an Al-Qaeda flag. The better option is to not fly any third-party flags in the first place. See Shortef versus the City of Boston. Respectfully submitted, Livonia residents Grant and Kristen Lee, with copies to the City Council and the Human Rights Commission. In conclusion, our public flagpoles are public property and should represent the entire community, as they do when we fly the U.S., state, and city flag. We were not given an opportunity to voice concerns so that a better decision could have been made about how to best represent diverse groups in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Please state your name and address, please.
Lloyd Banks, 18411 West 12 Mile in Lathrop Village. Good evening, everyone, and to this honorable body. I wanted to bring greetings from Mayor Kelly Garrett. She is the mayor of Lathrop Village, and she's also a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives here in the new 12th District. She's sorry she could not be here. She is presiding over her own city council tonight, and just wanted to lay out quickly that Mayor Garrett is all about quality and affordable health care, updated infrastructure, as well as good paying jobs that stay here in Michigan. And so just wanted to bring you greetings again from Mayor Kelly Garrett of Lathrop Village, your candidate for U.S. House of Representatives in the new 12th District.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else for audience communication at this time? I see none. I will announce our department heads who are here today to help us. We have Mark Taormina, our Director of Planning and Economic Development, Sarah Kasperitz, the Manager of the City Council Office, Susan Nash, our City Clerk, Paul Bernier, our City Attorney, Todd Zelinczyk, our City Engineer. In the back of the room there, we have LaShawn Thomas, our Director of Government Relations, and we have Mike Slater, our Director of Finance, Jacob Rushlow, Deputy Director of DPW, Linda Scheel, our City Treasurer. And with that being said, at this time, I'll go to the council for any council announcements. Anybody from the council? Ms. McIntyre, you have the floor.
Thank you, and if I may, Mr. Chair, I have comments on two separate subjects. First of all, I'd like to congratulate and thank the SPRE and the Livonia, formerly known as the Livonia Anniversary Committee, known informally as the SPRE Board, the SPRE Committee, the SPRE volunteers, our first responders who are hired by the SPRE, our CERT volunteers who show up to volunteer, the hundreds of volunteers, some from our city, some not, and all of the great people who showed up this year at Livonia SPRE. It was Livonia SPRE 70. It really, had we not had COVID, it would have been 72, but it was an absolutely outstanding event, other than the weather, which it seems to be that when you say it's SPRE, then it cues the 95-degree weather, which is uncomfortable for our first responders who are decked out in their full gear. But we didn't, not having done it for 2 years and having lost some board members, we weren't sure how this would go. It's always difficult restarting something, and it ran from Tuesday the 21st through last night with the conclusion of the fireworks at about 10 o'clock. It was outstanding. Wade Shows had taken the opportunity during COVID to refurbish a number of their rides. You could see that there were some rides that are not operating because they can't get parts, supply chain issues that everyone experiences. But everything that was there, for the most part, was in great working order and looked great. The patrons were wonderful. There were signs prominently posted that there would be zero tolerance for any sort of disruptions. And there were very, very few incidents. The ones that did occur were addressed very, very quickly. I don't think there are many places left where a family can take their kids or whomever or their friends and experience a day like you can have at the Livonia SPRE. Abundance of safe, clean rides, games to play, all sorts of food stands, pig races, and just a really great community environment. It takes a lot of resources, and it at times feels like a drain on the city's resources to do this. It takes, literally thousands and thousands of hours and hundreds of people. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody can argue that this is a tremendous community asset. And so thank you to everyone who took part in making this year's event and the reigniting and the restarting of SPRE so successful in such a wonderful 5 days. So thank you. 6 days, actually. And the second item I have to share is sad news. Speaking of the SPRE board, on Friday, Paul Malley of Livonia passed away after a struggle with leukemia. Paul was just a phenomenal man, a phenomenal Livonian. He was an instrumental member of the SPRE board for many, many years. One of his responsibilities was running the annual pizza night, and this year there were some more hiccups than usual with the pizza night, and one of the reasons was that Paul had become ill recently and was not able to do that. In addition to volunteering for the SPRE, Paul ran one of the ushers groups at St. Aidan Catholic Church. If there was an event anywhere at St. Aidan, you would see Paul there. Paul was one of those people who never talked about what he did and what he contributed. He just did it. He was a man of family, faith, and devotion to his community and his church and to many organizations in our city. I want to get this right. Paul was also, many people didn't know this, but he worked with clocks, and he was a very skilled clock repair guy. And he had taken classes and become very, very proficient in repairing clocks that sometimes retail shops wouldn't take or didn't know what to do. My apologies, I want to again get all his family in here. He's survived by his wonderful wife Fran, to whom he was married for almost 57 years, and he has 4 children, Christopher, Mark, Karen, and Lisa. And he also has 10 grandchildren. So our deep condolences to the Malley family on the loss of Paul, and our community has lost just an outstanding person. So maybe if we could just have a brief moment of silence, Mr.
course.
Chair, in memory and honor of our friend Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Anything else from the council? Mr. Donovic?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to echo my colleagues' comments. The spree was a wonderful time. I had my little brother there. I ended up spending $60 for a pickle, long story, but it was a great time. A lot of fun people, a lot of great volunteers. The first responders did an awesome job keeping everyone safe. The residents, it was awesome to see that many people come back out for the first spree since 2019, I believe. It was just a really great time. So hats off to all the volunteers and everyone that made the spree possible. I would also like to refer an item to for report and recommendation to the Traffic Bureau, the Police Department, and the Law Department to look into vehicle haulers that are vehicle haulers / loaders that are parking in the turn or center lane unloading cars. There's a few car lots up and down.
Do we have second for that?
I'll support.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks, my colleagues. We have a few dealerships along Plymouth Road, and that they're great partners, great businesses in our community, but the car haulers that are loading and unloading vehicles are now using the center lane to unload those vehicles, and it's extremely dangerous. I've had a few complaints from local businesses and residents that say, hey, these big car haulers are blocking our entryways to adjacent buildings to get in and out of their parking lots. And then furthermore, which is more concerning to me, is I personally saw a driver underneath the car hauler with his legs hanging out into the middle of the lane. And that just looks like a recipe for a bad disaster. So I'd like our law department, traffic bureau, and police department to look into that, and see if there's any resources there for to stop that from happening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any comments from the council in regards to that motion? Any comments on that motion from the audience? I see none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on that?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. So the motion passes. That report and recommendation is requested from the aforementioned administrative offices. With that being said, we'll move to Mr. McCullough.
Thank you, Council President. I also have an item that I'd be looking for support from my colleagues to refer the matter of road construction communication to the Capital Outlay and Infrastructure Committee.
Support.
Thank you. We're obviously right now, we had a few issues on some of the projects that are around the city. I know my colleague, Mr. Donovic, just notifying residents on when these great road work, because everybody complains, and, you know, I look over the winter and stuff, so the construction's great, but the communication, I think, could be a little bit better. Now, that goes through, we know that the county has different roads, and the city does too, but all the residents are residents of Livonia and deserve to know when things are going to get done, and, you know, obviously things happen, but communication's key, so just generalizing, putting this item and seeing if we could come up with a better process.
Okay. Any comments from the council? I see none. Any comments in regards to that motion from the audience? I see none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. So the motion passes, and that item is referred to the committee mentioned by Mr. McCullough. I think you have something else?
Yep, just one last thing. Wanted to wish, I know Harper, my daughter, who just turned 8 on June 23rd, she finally got to celebrate a spree birthday, and I think we went every night except Friday, and I determined that I cannot ride half those rides like I did 20 years ago. But it was a blast. Again, echoing what my colleague said, it was a wonderful time to get everybody back together. I won't digress too much on it, but it was an incredible time to see everybody there. So Harper, happy 8th birthday. It's a little belated, but we love you just the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCullough. So as far as my announcements go, I will note that we have one X item that has been added to the end of the agenda tonight. That's in regards to An award of bid from the Department of Public Works for the replacement of the City Hall HVAC Unit 3 from budgeted funds. You may notice that the temperature is less than desirable in certain parts of the building, and that is why. On a personal note, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to my son JD, who's turning 7 in a couple days. We love him. He's great. He does all the things. He's got fiery red hair, and he's got a personality to match, which is great and wonderful and a little bit scary to go along with that. So happy birthday, JD. We love you. And with that, we will move on to the agenda for this evening. The first things on the agenda, I have to note some reports that we've received from the mayor and other city officials. All communications here, one from the Department of Finance dated May 25th, forwarding various financial statements from the City of Livonia for the month ending in February 28, 2022. Another from the Department of Finance dated May 25th, forwarding various financial statements from the City of Livonia for the month ending March 31, 2022. Third from the Department of Finance dated May 31, 2022, forwarding Retirement System Audit Report for fiscal year 2021. And a communication from the Office of Government Affairs dated May 9th, 2022, regarding a requested report from regarding the Capital Relations contract, and that was for Council Resolution 93-22. With that being said, we will now move on to the. Sure.
May I?
Sure.
Mr. Chair. One of the items is, item D is a communication from the Office of Government Affairs dated May 9th, 2022, and thank you to Ms. Thomas for providing this to us. We had asked, council had been asked, we were assured that Capital Relations, whom the mayor's office has hired, and some funding was approved by council to help secure American Rescue Plan dollars for the proposed new senior center, that the city would receive regular updates with detailed information about what the Capital Relations folks were doing. This is a report from May 9th. It has it has 4 sentences in it. I don't consider that to be satisfactory reporting of what an agency or what lobbyists are doing for us. There are no names of people they've met with. There's no information here that's useful. So I'd like to ask the administration to please maybe take a look at these reports and provide reports, and ask Capital Relations to provide some reports that have some substance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. You'll note that I don't have much of a voice. I have sinus problems right now. It's the allergies are seasonal, and it's kind of causing my voice to be weak, but I think I'm well. Ms. LaShawn Thomas, you'd like to address what Ms. McIntyre said, I believe?
Good evening, Council. So in relation to your comment, Councilmember McIntyre, the report actually is longer than a few sentences. I will say that this is a very, very competitive project. We are working with, or we are competing with about 42 other communities. And so because of that, we do not want to give away our competitive edge by putting everything that in writing that can be FOIA'd. So that is one reason why we're not giving specific information about who has met with whom. However, I can assure you that Capital Relations has been working very diligently to secure our funding. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate your sharing the report with us, and I appreciate what you just said about information that can be FOIA'd. I'm still disappointed that the administration, specifically the mayor's office, has not communicated more robustly with anyone on exactly what's going on with Capital Relations in Lansing and the county. But thank you so much. We appreciate your work in keeping the council informed.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you both. With that being said, we will move on to the consent agenda portion of this evening's meeting. The consent agenda is tonight items 1 through 12. These items have been previously studied at the June 6th study meeting and found not to be requiring any additional study or discussion here at tonight's meeting, so they will be voted on as a single item. This does not mean that they're any less important, but rather that we have done the homework and feel comfortable with voting on them all at the same time. With that being said, does anybody in the audience have anything to say regarding items 1 through 12 on the agenda? It appears none. So Ms. Nash, I'll ask you at this time to take the vote for the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, we need a motion.
So move.
Support.
Motion by McCullough, support by Donovic. Ms. Nash, now you can take the vote.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye, the consent agenda passes 4-0. We will move on to item number 13. That is unfinished, that starts our unfinished business for tonight. Item 13 is a report out from the Finance and Budget Committee meeting of May 25th, 2022. That is chaired by Councilman Barr and vice chaired by Councilwoman McIntyre. Ms. McIntyre will be giving us a report out on that item. Ms. McIntyre.
Yes, I will. And if you'll bear with me just a moment while I find the, this is the first time I've used the iPad. I will find the minutes, which I know I just found. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm sorry. All right, now I'm in the right place. Thank you. I will begin with the minutes of the first meeting that we held, and this was on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, and that this was our first order of business. We actually had two meetings, 2 agenda items that evening. The council members present were Scott Barr, the chair, and myself, the vice chair. The other council members and city officials that were present were Rob Donovic, Scott Morgan, Linda Scheel, and I should have noted Mr. Donovic and Mr. Morgan are council members. Ms. Shields, our city treasurer, Leo Neville, our assistant city attorney, Michael Slater, our finance director, and Connie Kumpela, our chief accountant. We had additional attendees from Plant Moran, including Stephanie Atkinson, Stacy Reeves, and Keith Szymanski. And they gave as they do every year, the topic was Council Resolution 367-02. This is the topic of annual audit reports, and this covered the audit reports for the period December 1st, 2020 through November 30th, 2021. As most people know, our fiscal year ends on November 30th, 2021. We convened the meeting at 7:05, and it was led by our very capable committee chair, Scott Barr. Plant Moran presented its annual audit report and complimented the city on its exceptional preparedness and the ease of the process that they encountered. They once again submitted an unmodified opinion. That's always the goal. They found all accounting and record keeping to be in compliance with the required standards, and they also noted that the city stayed within budget in all categories. And also of note, and Mr. Slater doesn't like it when we report this because it's an exceptional statistic, and he and his staff always feel then that we've set the bar for the following year. The city had over 7,000 accounting journal entries, and for those of you who've ever worked in bookkeeping or accounting, you know that that's extremely high volume, and there were 0 errors found in more than those 7,000 entries. That's exceptional, and Mr. Slater, no pressure, because even a few errors would effectively be a rate of 0. So anyway, the committee recommends that we receive and file the 2021 audit report as submitted, and the item remains in committee.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. I believe there was another aspect of that as well, correct?
Yeah, but I think we need to do,
I think you can introduce that it was spoken about.
so,
Go ahead.
Okay.
You can introduce that it was spoken about, and you can we'll ask for a motion from there.
well, I guess I'll ask. I'm not sure we receive and file. Does that require a motion?
Receive and file does not.
Okay, so then I'll go on to our second item. And so just to be clear, the question was, since the recommendation was receive and file, that does not require a motion and a vote of the city council. Council Resolution 02-22 is administrative response regarding the city's purchasing policy limits. For this discussion, Mr. Slater, our finance director, began the discussion noting that since 1994, the ordinance has required the following for city purchases. Purchases 0 through $1,499, there are no special requirements. Purchases 1,500 through $14,999, 3 quotes are required. for $15,000 plus. Sealed bids are required, and the approval of the council is also required. With inflation, in 1994 dollars of $1,500 today would be $2,793, and $15,000 would be $27,930. The administration recommends the policy be updated as follows. 0 through $2,999, no special requirements. 3,000 through $29,999. 3 quotes would be required. 30,000 above, sealed bids would be required, and the council would have to approve the expense as we do today for any expenditure over $15,000. The administration also asked that the limit for council adjustments without council approval be raised to $5,000 or $30,000, whichever is less, from the current limit of $5,000 or $15,000. Furthermore, the administration proposed that the point at which the local contractor advantage changes from 3% to 1%, which currently stands at $100,000, be raised to $200,000. And what that is we are allowed to give Livonia businesses a small advantage in city contracts, which would be up to 1%, and it would go, the total dollar number limit would be from $100,000 to $200,000. Councilwoman McIntyre proposed a resolution that all of these recommendations be adopted, with the exception that city council approval still be required for purchases of $15,000 or more. The council recommends a resolution to include all above-mentioned recommendations be adopted, with the exception that the city council approval still be required for purchases of $15,000 or more, and we adjourn the meeting at 8:05.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Mr. Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my colleague, Councilwoman McIntyre, for the readout. I would like to offer first read amending the city council approval required for purchases from $15,000 to $20,000, be offering a motion to $20,000 for department heads to come to city council and for the purchasing process, and then the $3,000 to stay the same. In addition to, I would like to see that any contracts for professional services, whether it be lobbying, consulting, et cetera, have council approval regardless of dollar figure.
Is there a second for that?
I'll support.
Okay. Is there anything further to be said by the council in regards to this?
Can I ask a question? I
Yes,
got the
Mr.
first
Bernier.
part, which was raising it for 15,000 to 20,000. Could you repeat the second part, please?
And the second portion was, in regards to all this, any contract for professional services, whether that be lobbying, consulting, any professional services, that must come to council for approval regardless of dollar figure,
Over $15,000?
regardless of dollar amount.
Do you have clarity there, Mr. Bernier?
I think of the number of professional services we hire.
I understand.
That was the look I gave. That was the reason for my look.
You have your clarity in regards to your question?
I'm sorry?
You have clarity in regards to the
I have
question?
clarity in regards to the question.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCullough, do you have something to say?
Yeah, you know what? I agree. I know where you're going. The only issue is having to do this for a living, that could be a whole range of things. That could even be a $500. That would lead to a lot. I would recommend at least throwing a dollar amount on it, just because it could open up Pandora's box, in my opinion.
With that being said, I'll withdraw that portion then, and keeping at the $20,000 to make it most efficiently. Thank you, Mr. President.
So at this time, just to be clear for the record, your motion is to adopt the recommendation with the adjustment that the purchasing limit be $20,000 as opposed to the current 15. Is that correct?
Correct. Thank you, Mr. President.
Do you wish to continue your second on that motion, Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from the council? It appears, Ms. McIntyre, go ahead.
Through the chair, I have a question for the city attorney, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Bernier, is there a way to carve out approvals for different categories of expenditures? And the reason I ask this, a expenditure of $50,000 by the engineering department, by DPW, depending, by Parks and Rec, is very different from let's even say $20,000, is very different from a request for $20,000 from the mayor's office, from community resources. Do you see where I'm going? It's a question, of proportionality or percentages, if you will. Is there a way to carve things out without making this unduly complicated, or in order that you don't spend all of your time kind of refereeing this? Is it advisable to have $1 limit?
If you're asking my opinion, it is advisable to have $1 limit and to make it a limit that the council is happy with and satisfied with. I think it would be too hard to limit it to a particular department or with a category within a department. I think it can be done. I don't think it would make good ordinances. I think it would be difficult to enforce. It'd be difficult for council. It'd be difficult for the administration. I think it's better to have $1 amount and whatever council is happy with.
I would like, may I ask Mr. Donovic if he would make a friendly amendment to his offered resolution?
You can ask.
That any expenditures between $15,000 and $20,000, if we raise the limit, come to council as a receive and file, that we at least see what they are.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to amend my original motion to include any purchases between $15,000 to $20,000 receive some sort of
It's a
receive and file to City Council.
Okay. Mr. McCullough, do you adopt that as well?
Yes.
Okay. If there's nothing else from the council, we'll go to the audience. Is there any audience comments on this? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on the motion?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Wait, isn't this the first read?
No.
He made a motion to
I'm sorry.
adjust the
Thank you.
language.
Sorry for my confusion. I shouldn't have questioned Mr. Jolly on procedure. Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. The motion to amend the language has been approved. At this time, Mr. Bernier, in your opinion, are we ready to proceed with a first reading of that?
We are, I anticipated everything, possible changes from leaving it the way it was to 20,000 to 25 to 30,000. I did not anticipate the the receive and file portion of it, but that's easy enough to add. What I would do is just amend it from an amount to $20,000 or more greater must be approved by city council, and any amount from $15,000 or greater, but less than $20,000, $20,000 must be submitted to council for receive and file. The language would be in that order. I'd clean it up a little bit grammatically, but it would be in that order. So I think we're ready for first reading if council wants to do it.
Mr. Donovic?
Mr. Jolly, offer first read on that.
Okay, we have a first reading on that item. Any comments from the audience? I see none. At this time, we'll move on to item number 14. Item number 14 and the preceding items all the way through 19 are all roll call votes requiring a second reading and then a vote of the council. Item 14 is a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended from the Department of Law to Section 040 of Title 13, Chapter 8, Water Service Rates and Revenues to provide for changes in water service consumption rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1, 2022. First reading was given by Councilmember Barr on June 6. Ms. McIntyre?
In Councilmember Barr's absence, I will be happy to offer second reading.
Thank you very much. Do we have any comment on that from the council? Ms. McIntyre?
No one ever likes to have to do this. We have to do it every year, and that is to adjust our water rates. And we always like to remind our residents that our goal is to have pass-through costs. And the first customer of the water from GLWA, Great Lakes Water Authority, is the city. We buy the water, we have to pay for the water rates, and then we have to pay all the sewage rates and the other things that go along with it. If we were not to pass those rates along and try to absorb those ourselves, our bond rate would go up. And so what we seek to do is essentially to be revenue neutral and to set rates so that we cover our costs for consumption and our fixed costs. And additionally, this year, we had the issue of GLWA, including in their charges to us for this most recent period, that Highland Park, there's been a legal dispute between the Great Lakes Water Authority and Highland Park going back, I believe, several years. And Highland Park was not paying their water bills, and that was due to legal issues and finance issues. And so GLWA was attempting to cover those, the debt from Highland Park by spreading it across the other member communities. And we, along with a number of other communities in the counties, said, we are not going to pay, and we will put into escrow the amount of the bills that were attributable to Highland Park's unpaid debt. And so GLWA agreed that they would remove from our billing the portion that was attributable to Highland Park not paying their water bills. So I wanted to make sure everyone knew that we are not paying for any part of the unfunded bills that Highland Park has occurred for several years.
Thank you. Any audience comments on item number 14?
And may I just, through the chair, ask Mr. Slater if I got that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So there's no comment from the audience in regards to 14? Yeah, if you want to speak, you got to come up to the podium over here. Good evening, sir. State your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Stephen Weldon, 29912 Orange Lawn. I'd like a little clarification on how far back that goes, and is that escrow from the beginning or from a certain point in time recently?
This was all, with all due respect, this was all discussed at the previous study meeting. We're not going to be able to provide that information at this time, but it was discussed at prior meetings.
Okay,
At this point, we're not, it's been resolved where they're not charging us the amount that Highland Park is in arrears.
is that something then I and other citizens would be able to find out what was decided and what you guys have done?
It's been well reported in the newspapers as well.
Okay, apart from newspapers, though, I'd like to know from the word of council then. But you're saying that we can find that out about what the council has said or done for our benefit?
Correct. This is a voting meeting, so this was studied previously. So you're going to be able to watch those meetings online if you'd like to.
Okay. I have one more question. Let me see what it was now. If I had a question down the road, is this study then completely done? I couldn't bring that up, or anyone else could bring that up? Regarding the GLWA and the relationship of our water?
Can you clarify your comments, please?
Just for further identification, there's a subject, and I don't recall right now, it escapes my mind, I apologize. But it was something that I wanted to find out what the council was doing. Is that something to find out more information about what the council provides or does for the citizens?
So all of the information, the packets in regards to what the council has information in regards to, they're all publicly available online. You can see all the information that we see as well.
Okay.
And
How
our
about-
votes,
Sorry.
our votes are all public.
Okay.
So watching the meetings and following along, you'll be easily able to tell what we're doing.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Anything else?
Just as for further suggestions or requests of the council regarding this, how would I do that?
Further requests in regards to what, sir?
Our relationship with the water and the GLWA.
You're free to address the council as you are now.
Okay, but can I do that again in the future if something's new?
You're
wants
free
be
to
addressed?
address the council at any time at the beginning or the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McIntyre?
Mr. Chair, just the minutes from our study, May 16th study meeting are available online, and those give you thorough descriptions of everything that went through, that we approved, and all the discussion about GLWA and the Highland Park. And I'd suggest you read those because I think it'll answer your questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Yeah, and if you look at the packet for tonight as well, it's well documented in regards to what we're voting on. We just can't read to you like 30, 40, 50 pages on any particular item. It's there, though, if you'd like to peruse it. Thank you very much. At this time, Ms. Nash, if there's no further comments, please take the vote on 14.
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. Item number 14 passes. We'll move on to 15. This is also a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances from the Department of Law to Section 050 of Title 13, Chapter 8, Water Service Rates and Revenues, to provide changes in the water service consumption rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1 of 2022. First reading was given in regards to that by Councilmember McCullough on June 6th.
I'll offer a second read.
We have second reading. Any comments from the council? I see none. Any comments from the audience in regards to item number 15? I see none. Ms. Nash, please take the vote.
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. 15 passes. We'll move on to 16. Also, a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended from the Department of Law to Section 120 of Title 13, Chapter 20, Livonia Sewage Disposal System, to provide for changes to the sewer disposal and maintenance rates to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1, 2022. First reading was given by Councilmember Donavick on June 6th.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to offer a second read.
We have a second reading from Donavick. Any comment from the council? I see none. Any comment from the audience? I see none. Ms. Nash, please take the vote on 16.
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. 16 passes. Item 17 is also a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances. This is from the Department of Law to Section 130 of Title 13, Chapter 20, Livonia Sewage Disposal System, to provide for changes to the special rates for designated users to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1 of 2022. First reading was given by Councilmember Barr on June 6th.
In Mr. Barr's absence, I would like to offer the second reading, please.
We have a second reading from Ms. McIntyre. Any comment from the council? I see none. Any comment from the audience? I see none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on 17?
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. 17 passes. Moving on to 18. A proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended from the Department of Law to Section 050 of Title 13, Chapter 28, Industrial Waste Surcharge, to provide for changes in the industrial waste surcharge rate to become effective with the first billing on or after July 1 of 2022. First reading was given by Councilmember Donavick on June 6th.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to offer a second read, please.
We have a second reading. At this time, any comment from the council? I see none. Any comment from the audience? On 18, there appears to be none. Ms. Nash, please take the vote.
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. 18 passes. We will move on to item number 19, a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended from the Department of Law to amend Chapter 37, that's the delivery and placement of written materials, to Title 8. First reading was given by Council Vice President Toy on June 6 of 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. Donovan.
in Vice President Toy's absence, I'd like to offer a second read, please.
We have a second reading on 19. Any comment from the council? Any comment from the audience? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, please take the vote.
Councilmember Donavick?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. So, excuse me. Number 20 is a proposed amendment to the Livonia Vision 21 zoning ordinance as amended from the Department of Law regarding petition 2019060105 submitted by Devon's Custom Construction to rezone the property located on the west side of Farmington Road between the CSX Railroad right-of-way and Schoolcraft Road, 13393 Farmington Road in the northeast quarter, section of 28, from M1 Light Manufacturing to C2 General Business.
I'll offer an approving.
Do I have a second?
Support.
First read, I'm sorry, I'll offer first read.
Okay. We have a first read on number 20. Any comment from the audience? There appears to be none. No comment. Oh, go ahead.
John, this was actually on with the suggestion that this should normally be the second read for this, but because we changed the zoning ordinance, and the first reading was under the old zoning ordinance, we suggested that to the council, like the council may want to consider invoking the Emergency Act, because the emergency provision of the ordinance, and do a first reading and a second reading, which is where we should be in the first place, and then vote on it. That's our suggestion.
So we need to,
Well, we don't need to. That's a suggestion. I don't think that's an emergency.
It's
Yeah.
up to council.
Is there any, Mr. Toromina?
Point out that the next item on the agenda would be the approval of the waiver use, and that would not occur without the first completing the rezoning.
Okay. Does anybody in the council want to make a motion to suspend the rules and offer a second reading tonight?
I will move that we suspend the rules in order to offer second reading on this item for the
Support.
extenuating, under the extenuating
Okay.
circumstances.
Motion by McIntyre, support by Donovic. Any comment from the council? Any comment from the audience in regards to that? I see. If you have a comment, you got to come up to the podium. So everybody who's here, if you want to comment, it's great. I can hardly see anybody out there, let alone you raising your hands, because there's a bunch of lights up here. So if you want to speak, please line up and,
Sorry. Hi, Dean Devons with Devons Custom Construction, 43650 Utica Road, Sterling Heights. I was bringing up to say thank you for making the exception to hear it tonight. We filed a long time ago, pandemic kind of put everything on hold, but we appreciate you making an adjustment to get it pushed through.
thank you. Okay. No further comment from the audience. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on suspending the rules only?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye. The rules are suspended in regards to this item. Would anybody like to offer a second reading at this time?
Council President, I will offer a second read.
Okay, we have a second read. Any comment from the council in regards to the second read of item number 20?
I do. Just one quick question through the chair to the petitioner. I'm assuming that you're going to put buckets in the ground like next week if this goes through, correct?
We are trying hard. That's why I appreciate it getting forward. Thank you.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that. That is all.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comment from the audience? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on the second read of 20?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye, the item passes. Moving on to item number 20 is a waiver petition from the Planning Commission regarding petition 2022030211 submitted by the Livonia Veterinary Hospital requesting to expand the existing veterinary hospital at 13389, 13391, and 13393 Farmington Road, located on the west side of Farmington Road between the CSX Railroad right-of-way and the Schoolcraft Road in the northeast quarter of Section 28. Can I have a motion?
I'd like to offer first read.
That's you mean approving?
Oh, I'm sorry, and approving.
I'll support.
Sorry, it's a waiver, I'm
We have
sorry, Jim.
We have a motion to approve from McIntyre, support from McCullough. Any comment from the council?
Council President?
Mr. McCullough?
Through the chair to, I actually don't know who this, maybe that's to Mr. Tormina. Do we know, have the results of the towing contract been discussed yet, or as they went through? Does anybody know? Because I know that this petition was contingent on getting that bid.
This is not that item, sir.
Is this not that item?
This is in regards to, in addition to a veterinary hospital, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so is there any comment from the audience at all? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote on 21, the waiver petition?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye, item 21 passes, the waiver is granted. Item number 22 is also a waiver petition from the Planning Commission for petition 2022040212 submitted by Area Towing and Recovery, Inc., requesting to operate a vehicle tow yard at 12719 Inkster Road, located on the west side of Inkster Road between the CSX Railroad and Schoolcraft Road in the northeast quarter of Section 25. Can I have a motion?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I'll offer an approving for sake of discussion.
I'll support.
We have a motion from Donovic, support from McCullough. Any comment from the council?
Maybe try this one again. I see the petitioner, maybe this is a good question for you, if I may. to see what the status of that current RFP is.
Shane Anders, I'm from 12719 Inkster Road. There's an RFP process. We've submitted our proposals. They've opened them. There are only 2 bidders, and we're waiting to hear from the city as regards to the interview process or what they're going to do from that point forward. But nothing else. I haven't heard or had any communications yet.
Thank you. Anything else from the council? Okay, anything else from the audience in regards to this item? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, can you take the vote on 22?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. The item passes. We'll move on to number 23. That's the appointment of Christopher Bullovin to the Zoning Board of Appeals from Councilwoman McIntyre for a 3-year term, which will expire on July 12 of 2025. Ms. McIntyre, I'll give you the floor. Well, we need a motion first, but.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to offer an approving.
Okay.
Support?
We have a motion by Donovic, support by McCullough. Ms. McIntyre, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me first begin by saying that Mr. Bullovin's not appearing at the study meeting for this was completely my fault. There was a hiccup in communications between Ms. Kasperwitz and myself, for which I take full responsibility. He was prepared to come, and I thought we were going to pull this off the agenda, so he did not come at my direction. So thank you very much, Chris, for being here tonight, and it's my pleasure to offer Christopher Bullovin for reappointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals for another 3-year term. Mr. Bullovin does an outstanding job despite a very busy life as an attorney, as a father, as a businessman, as a volunteer for many events and activities. His attendance is very, very good at the ZBA. His perspective as an attorney, as the managing partner of CND CPA, and also a member of CND Law, gives him an outstanding perspective and brings a lot of knowledge. He is a lifelong Livonia resident, but he's done a lot of other things and been a lot of other places, so he looks at the things that happen in Livonia through a pretty sophisticated and diverse lens. And the council, the zoning board, would be very lucky to retain him.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the council? Mr. Donovic?
Thank you, Mr. President. My intention was to grill you really hard tonight before offering and approving. However, I took some time and looked at the dedication you give to this community and all the great things you do in our city. And I'm very thankful that you continue to want to serve in this capacity. And I was very happy to hear that colleagues offered this for you. So look forward to you continuing your service to our community, and thanks for stepping up.
Okay. Anything else from the council? It appears not. Any audience comments on this appointment? There appears to be none. Mr. Bullovin, would you like to say anything?
Sure. Chris Bullovin, 17405 Ellen Drive. First, I'd like to thank the council. Thank you, Councilwoman McIntyre, for the faith of the reappointment. Thank you to Councilman Donovic and Councilman McCullough for the motion in the second. I can't believe 3 years has passed already, and it's funny, you know, COVID kind of makes everything go quick, but I feel like I was just standing here 3 years ago for my first term, and really excited for the second one to come and the faith that the council has in me to continue on this path. So thank you very much to the council.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. So you are appointed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item number 24 is an adoption of a resolution placing special assessments upon referenced properties whose owners have not paid charges conflicting with the 2021 Sidewalk program, that's contract 21G, single lot assessments from the Office of the Treasurer regarding the same, noting Council Resolution 30-22 and 67-22 as well. Can I have a motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Donovic?
I'll offer approving.
Support.
We have an approving by Donovic, support by McIntyre. Any comment from the council? There appears to be none. Any comment from the audience? There appears to be none. Ms. Shield, did you want to say anything? Okay. With no comments here, we'll ask Ms. Nash to take the vote.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye. The item passes. Item number 25 is an acceptance of a grant of easement from the Department of Law for sanitary sewer secured without monetary consideration from Haggerty Square Residential LLC. That's 19750 Haggerty Road in the west half section of Section 6, parcel 4623990005-004. Can I have a motion?
I'll offer approving.
I have an approving motion from McCullough,
Support.
support from Donovic. Any comment from the council at all? There appears to be none. Any comment from the audience? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye, the item passes. That concludes our agenda, but we do have an X item. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to consider the X item.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by McIntyre, support by McCullough. Any comment from the council? Any comment from the audience? There is none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote regarding the motion to suspend the rules?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye. The rules are suspended. At this time, we will consider item X1, an award of bid from the Department of Public Works for the replacement of City Hall HVAC Unit Number 3 from budgeted funds. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by McIntyre, support by McCullough. Any comment from the council? None. Mr. Rushlow, would you like to speak on this matter?
I certainly can. Thank you. Good evening, council. As you are aware, recently the air handler unit on the rooftop here at City Hall, number 3, which is the third of 3 total units at this building, had failed recently in operation. Both condensers had failed, which are the cooling condensers for air conditioning. We had previously recognized this unit as needing to be replaced prior to its failure. As you can recall, just a couple of years ago, units 1 and 2 were replaced here at City Hall. So we prepared bid documents and put those out publicly on the Mitten Trade Network for bidding, competitive bidding. And the bid opening is held on June 21st, and 1 bid was received from Synergy Engineering Services. So it's our recommendation here tonight that council proceed to accept this bid and award a construction contract to Synergy Engineering Services for all labor, material, and equipment necessary to complete the replacement of that rooftop unit, and the amount not to exceed $250,350.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. This passes. When does this work start? When should it be completed?
So as soon as we get this contract worked out, we'll work with the contractor to get a schedule ready. Once he has a signed contract, he'll be able to then put in his purchase order. That's obviously the biggest lead time is going to be the availability of the component that was spec'd out that needs to be replaced on the rooftop. Once we have that information, can certainly let everyone know what that timeline will look like.
Thank you, Mr. Rushlow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. McCullough.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through the chair to Mr. Rushlow. Obviously, the construction industry, that lead time could vary, and I know it could take a long amount of time. Do you have any temporary solutions to provide more of an adequate airflow to all the units that are affected? I know that there's some employees that, especially during these summer's months.
We do, yeah, certainly. So in the meantime, while obviously we're waiting here in the hot summer months for this unit to be ordered and shipped and all that good stuff, we did reach out to a couple of different companies that can provide temporary air conditioning units. We received a quote just today from one of those companies to supply us, it would actually have 2 units on a month-by-month rental basis to get us through the hot time of the year here, and then when the season switches over, warming the spaces won't be an issue because it's on the boiler system for City Hall.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any audience comments on the X item, X1? There appears to be none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Aye.
President Jolly.
Aye. X1 passes, and that concludes all the items on the agenda this evening. We will move back to audience communication. Does anybody in the audience wish to address the council at this time on any item that was not on the agenda this evening? Going once, going twice? Okay, no audience communication. We'll go back to the council. Is there any closing comments from the council? I see none. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Support.
Motion by McCullough, support by Donovic. Any audience communication on that? There's none. Ms. Nash, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Aye.
President Jolly?
Aye. So the meeting will be adjourned here. If you're here for the study meeting that was scheduled at 8 o'clock, we'll get that started at 8, we'll say 8:12. We'll give about 6 minutes here between meetings. What, no? 8:15.
Thank you.
8:15. I'm trying to be conscious of people's time here. All right, meeting, regular is adjourned. Thank you.
Unbelievable.